Today, we're diving into something, well, pretty unusual. We're looking at a fascinating teaching method that connects two worlds you probably never thought you'd see together: sixth grade math and ancient biblical stories. Okay, let's get into how this whole thing works. So, first up, how do you even begin to pair abstract numbers with some of the oldest stories around? It all kicks off with a really simple but kind of brilliant question. I know, right? It sounds like a stretch, but this is the hook the lesson uses to get students to lean in. It takes a story that almost everyone knows and uses it to introduce a really core math concept, the whole idea of positive versus negative. And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at how they frame this. Goliath, the giant, the guy everyone expected to win, he represents a positive advantage. And David, the little guy, the underdog, he's starting from a negative situation. You see what's happening here? Right from the jump, numbers are getting a value judgment. Positives mean you're ahead, negatives mean you're struggling. Now that David and Goliath thing, it's not just a cute warm-up exercise. It actually sets up a consistent set of rules, a kind of moral framework, if you will, that gets applied to the entire lesson. It creates what you could basically call a moral number line. Okay, quick refresher, just so we're all on the same page. We all know what an integer is, right? It's just a whole number. It can be positive, negative, or zero. It's simple, it's abstract. But this lesson plan, yeah, it's about to make it anything but abstract. And boom, here it is. This is the heart of the whole method. Positive numbers aren't just numbers bigger than zero anymore. Now they are literally victories, blessings, and gains. And on the flip side, negative numbers, those are struggles, losses, even disobedience. And zero, of course, is just that neutral starting point. The number line just went from a math tool to a map of, well, life experiences. Okay, so we've got the rules of the game. Now let's see how this framework actually gets applied. Students are asked to take specific people and events and plot them right onto this new kind of number line. So check this out. In class, they do this activity. Moses leading the Israelites to freedom, that's a huge victory, so he gets a +10. Jonah running away from God, that's an act of disobedience, so he lands way down at -8. And what's really cool is the example of Job. He's on here twice. His suffering puts him at -5, a struggle, but his faithfulness gets him a +7, a blessing. It shows that one person's story can literally move all over the number line. So let's take another example. What do you think the number +5 might represent in this system? Well, according to the lesson, it stands for the 5 big speeches Peter gave that inspired a bunch of people. It's framed as a positive gain, which just hammers home that idea. Positive numbers are good things, blessings, helpful actions. All right, let's flip to the other side of the number line. A big negative number, like, say, -20. That's got to be for a pretty major struggle. And it is. That number is used for the Israelites' enslavement in Egypt. This really long period of suffering is seen as a major negative situation, locking in that connection between negative numbers and hardship. Okay, so at this point, the students have learned how to place these static moments on the number line. But the lesson doesn't stop there. Oh no. The next step is to get these stories and the numbers they represent moving. And this is where the rubber really meets the road. The whole story framework becomes a tool to actually do math. The homework isn't just about plotting points anymore. It's about using those points to solve problems, specifically addition and subtraction. And the word problems become these little mini stories. Get this. David is in a bad spot, hiding from King Saul, so he's at position -7. Then he moves 5 steps to the right. Where does he end up? So how do you solve it? You just follow the story. You start at -7, he's point of struggle. You move 5 steps to the right, which is the same as adding 5, and where do you land? On -2. He's still in a negative spot, sure, but he's moved closer to 0. He's made progress. And that's the magic trick right there. The math equation, -7 + 5 = -2, isn't just symbols on a page anymore. It's now the story of a character's journey from a really bad situation to a slightly less bad one. The story is the math. And they don't stop there. This logic is even used to teach concepts like greater than and less than. Instead of asking a kid, is +12 greater than -10, the lesson asks, is being second in command of Egypt a better situation than being sold into slavery? The story makes the abstract idea instantly make sense. All right, let's zoom out and bring all these pieces together. What's the final equation here? What does this teaching strategy really add up to? So to wrap it all up, this method takes these abstract things called integers and makes them totally concrete by tying them to stories. It gives positive and negative numbers a moral meaning, blessings versus struggles. It uses the action in those stories to teach actual math, like addition. And when you put it all together, it creates a whole values-based system for just understanding what numbers mean. And that brings us to our final question, the one that really lingers. This is a pretty clever teaching tool for sure, but it also makes you wonder, when we teach kids that positive is good and negative is bad, how does linking math so directly to a moral code change a student's basic understanding of what numbers even are? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us.